My topic is laser. Laser is a source of electromagnetic radiation. The word laser stands for light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. We are going to see some of the properties of laser beam. It is Laser beam is a highly monochromatic and it is having high indents, high degree of coherence and high directional in nature. Some of the basic characteristics of laser beam: the energy state of an atomic system is characterized by discrete energy levels. Some of the basic characteristics are stimulated absorption, spontaneous emission, and stimulated emission. The atom in the ground state can be excited to a higher energy state by a process known as stimulated absorption. With the atom in the ground state absorbs energy from the incident photon and gets excited to the higher energy state. This process is known as stimulated absorption. The atom in the excited state comes down to the ground state by the two process. Emission can be takes place by the two process: spontaneous emission and stimulated emission. The atom in the excited state emits spontaneously even in the absence of any external agent is known as spontaneous emission. It depends upon the number of atoms in the excited state. For the stimulated emission, the phenomenon of forced photon emission by an excited atom due to the action of external agency is called stimulated emission. Next, we are going to see some of the basic concepts about the laser. What is a normal population and what about the population inversion? What is normal population? In a system of thermal equilibrium, the number of atoms in the ground state is greater than the number of atoms in the excited state. And population inversion, the number of atoms in the excited state compared to the ground state is higher. This is population inversion. The population inversion can be achieved by different methods. We are going to see one of the method, that is optical pumping. The ground state atoms absorbs energy from the incident photons, that is from the optical source. The source may be from the xenon or krypton flash tube, and it gets energy from the incident photon and rise to the excited state. This type of pumping technique is known as optical pumping, and this type of pumping method is adopted in Endiok laser. And metastable state, it is the energy levels in the atomic systems where the lifetime of atom is very large, of the order of 10 power minus 3 to 10 power minus 2 seconds. And we are going to see what is active medium and active center. The medium in which the population inversion can take place is the active medium, and the material in which atoms are raised to the excited state to achieve population inversion is called as active center. Based on the active medium, we can classify lasers into different types. Next, we are going to see what are the classifications of lasers. The lasers can be classified into three categories: solid state laser, liquid laser, and gas laser. When the active medium is a solid, then the type of laser is a solid state laser. The example for this type of laser is Endiok laser and ruby laser. Out of these types of lasers, we are going to see elaborate about the Endiok laser. The word Endiok stands for neodymium yttrium aluminum garnet. In this, Nd3 plus ions, that is neodymium, is doped into the yttrium aluminum garnet. The type of laser used here is solid state laser, and then the active medium used here is yttrium aluminum garnet crystalline rod, and the active center is neodymium, that is N plus Nd3 plus ions. Pumping method used here is optical pumping. The source for this optical pumping is xenon or krypton flash tube. Optical resonator, The resonating plates on either sides of the endiocrystal ore is polished and kept it flat and parallel, and the nature of output is pulsed laser, and wavelength of the output is 1.064 micrometer. Endio crystal rod. Endio laser is a doped insulator laser. It is used to generate high power intensity. Principle is here yttrium aluminum carbonate crystal is doped with neodymium ions, which is used as a active medium. The neodymium ions are excited to the higher energy state by the pumping method, optical pumping, and fall back to a metastable state by non-radioactive decay. During the downward transition from the metastable state to the E1 state, that is ground state, laser is emitted by the principle of stimulated emission. What about the construction of endio crystal? Endio crystal is an active medium in which few of the yttrium ions are replaced by neodymium ions. The length of the crystalline rod varies from 5 to 10 centimeter and diameter varies from 6 to 9 millimeter. Endio crystalline rod along with the source, that is we can keep it either xenon or krypton flash tube. It is placed inside the highly elliptical reflector cavity. This makes the entire radiation from flash lamp to focus on endio crystal rod. The optical resonator is formed by using two reflecting mirrors. That is, one is mirrors which is highly polished and parallel, in which one is 100% reflecting and the other one is partially reflecting. Working of the endio crystal. The flash lamp is switched on and the light photons are allowed to fall on the crystal rod. The Nd3 plus ions are pumped to the higher energy state E2 and E3 from the ground state E0 by absorbing the light photons. From the higher energy state, the atoms make non-radiative transition to metastable state E4. The population inversion is achieved between the energy levels of E4 and E1. E4 becomes more populated within few milliseconds. Then the stimulation starts and the stimulated emission is dominated between the energy levels E4 and E1. The stimulated photons undergo multiple reflections between the parallel plates and thus energy increases abruptly. After reaching sufficient energy, the laser beam emerges out from a partially reflecting plate with a wavelength of 1.064 micrometer. Next, we are going to see some of the applications of laser. Lasers are used for cutting thick sheets of hard metals and for welding. The laser beam is used to vaporize the unwanted material during the manufacture of electronic circuit on semiconductor chips. It can be used in the treatment of animal and human cancer. The Earth-Moon distance has been measured with the help of laser. Thank you.